And we'll get things underway again. We have built into the program, I want to add time for socializing and mixing after the award presentation as well, for those of you that have the time to stick around. And while we get going, a few more introductions I want to add. Kevin Feehan has shown up, so thank you, Kevin, for being here. Also at the head table, the Vice President and Academic Dean for Newman, Ryan Topping. Ryan, thanks for being here. There's a few more people I want to introduce. First of all, the nominators for Mike, Dr. Cindy Vasilanic, the Superintendent of Evergreen Catholic School District. More from Cindy a little bit later. Dean Sarnecki, the Executive Director of the Alberta Catholic School Trustees Association. And Karen Kostra, the Religious Education Coordinator for Evergreen. Thank you, Karen. We want to recognize the members of the Kevin Carr Award Selection Committee. First of all, Father Don McDonald from the Newman faculty. Now, Father Don sends his regrets. I saw Father Don Monday. He's very busy this week with all the Franciscans as they complete the transition into the Holy Spirit province. So they're hanging out at the Star of the North Retreat House. Probably having a really good time, I just think. But he did want to send along his regrets and his best wishes to Mike and his family and to everyone who was here. Also on the selection committee, Lisa Turchansky from the Academic Senate and the Edmonton Catholic School Board. Hey, Lisa. Dr. Robert McKeon, Professor Emeritus from Newman, I saw it. And also on the selection committee, Jamie McNamara, the Executive Director of the Council of Catholic School Superintendents of Alberta. And my last introductions are the members of the Academic Senate who are in attendance, Kevin Feehan, Father Wachakowski, and Lisa Turchansky, as well as Sandra Tallarico. Sandra, where are you? This is a Senate award. We'd now like to welcome to the podium Dr. Jason West with a message from Newman College. Jason?
March those stairs.
Thank you, Tim. It's a pleasure to be here with you all today. Thank you for coming to support the college and our recipient this year, Mike. I just want to say a couple of words about the award itself before I invite the nominators to come up and introduce our recipient. Kevin Carr, as most of you know, was the 7th president of Newman Theological College from 1993 to 2001. He was, in fact, the first layperson to be appointed to this role, and during his tenure, he was involved in a major restructuring and renewal of the college. In fact, to this day, still when we're looking at enrollments at the college, that time of his presidency is really our benchmark. It was a time of great involvement, which we are, I think, starting to return to. Each year, this leadership award is given to an individual whose outstanding Christian leadership reflects the values of Newman Theological College and the qualities that Kevin Carr cherished and exhibited in his work as president. That's a tall order. What are those qualities? I'm sure any of you who've met Kevin can speak to your own experience of his many virtues, simply considering the various roles that he has served over the years as a teacher, as an administrative leader in Catholic education, of course as president of Newman, head of the Providence Renewal Center, and a master and guide of prayer for those who go there. It's clear to see that the plurality of gifts required to excel, as he has done in all of those roles, are rarely united in a single human heart. For this reason, we at Newman are really grateful to be touched by Kevin Carr's leadership over those years and to today. A couple of weeks ago, he was also at our convocation, so he remains involved and supportive, and we're really grateful for that. We're also grateful for the diverse ways the lives of the 14, soon to be 15, recipients of this award have also touched our community and supported us in our mission. So this certainly includes this year's recipient. And so at this point, I'd like to ask Cindy Vasilinik, the Superintendent of Evergreen Catholic Schools, to come up and introduce our award winner.
Another Paonessa. All right, I probably look like a talking head up here, but at my local church, they actually provide a little bench for me to stand on. It's indeed an honor to be here today to honor a man that I get the privilege of working with every day. And I got to acknowledge the people here that made an effort to come so that we could pay tribute to the work that Mike has done as a Christian leader. And I mean, it's so great to see members of our law firm, Denton's, that comes to support a man in a school division. Concordia College, because we hire a lot of Concordia teachers. And so 3 tables of family, only a good Italian can fill on a weekday, 3 tables. And I want to acknowledge the school divisions that together we are grateful for the time that Mike Paonessa has worked with us. So I know members of Edmonton Catholic Schools are here. The superintendent, Joan Carr, is here. We've got trustees, and also my people in Evergreen Catholic also have 3 tables. All right, so anyhow, we're here to honor you, Mike, and Mike's not making eye contact. And I'm going to be honest with you, I never told Mike I was nominating him. And the reason I didn't is because I know he would say, I'm not worthy, I don't belong in the esteemed list of honored guests, I'm not good enough to meet this criteria, right? And so I nominated Mike. You know, it does say in the things you're supposed to let the person know, but God forgive me. So we were excited when Mike got it, because I'm going to try and get to the essence. I'm not going to read you his resume, which is impressive. I'll highlight a few things, but I want to try and get to the essence of the man that I think represents the 3 criteria of the Kevin Carr Christian Leadership Award. So the 3 criteria are leadership. When you're an administrator in a Catholic school division, doesn't matter which Catholic school division, there is an expectation that you are a Christian leader and a Christian role model. We all carry that. The person that Mike is beyond that, because he certainly lives up to that in his work every day. I often tease Mike and I say, Mike, just have a bad day. Just come in, we've worked together for 6-7 years, I get all geared up for it, just show me a bad day. I'm still waiting, but I make up for it on the other side, I think. So leadership is an expectation, and I'll just briefly mention one area of leadership because it ties to Newman. 3 school divisions formed a partnership with the Newman Theological College to offer an Excellence in Catholic Educational Leadership program. It was like a formation program that kind of went above what we typically would do because we tied it to an academic institution. It was actually Troy Davies' original idea, and he brought it to partner with us and with Newman. Well, Mike's been the lead for Evergreen Catholic Schools, and when I talked to Dean and Karen Custer about creating the nomination package, they both referenced the work that Mike has done to build Excel. So as a result, we have over 30 teachers in our school division that have got this extra credential and even furthered their masters through Newman because of this partnership. That's educational leadership at its best. So this is something that Dean had to say in his package. Mike's been involved in all aspects from mission evaluation, presentations, and setting the focus of the academy, encouraging dialogue and participation with the Archdiocese, Newman, and school divisions. Mike is a key component and organizer of this initiative. Karen Custer, a co-nominator, said, I've worked closely with Mike on a program of faith formation and leadership. called Excel. The program brings together a cohort of teachers for faith formation and studies in Catholic school administration. Something we're very proud of, and it demonstrates his leadership. But I'm not really going to focus on those two criteria, because I want to focus on the essence of why Mike deserves this award, and maybe why I don't deserve this award. And all my people in Evergreen are nodding their head. So when we speak that we are called to service in the name of Jesus Christ, Jesus has expectations of us. Do unto others would be one. Put others before you, we are third. God, others, ourselves. And also to be the face of Christ to those who are feeling hopeless, are in despair, or are struggling. Mike lives those criteria every day. And I would say, and I'll just speak for myself, that if I go home and I can tick off one of those boxes in any given day, I've had a good day. Mike lives those three things every single day, in every interaction. And that's why I always say, Mike, come on, show me a bad day. Show me a day that you're just ticking off two of those three things. And so to me, a lot of that speaks to Christian witness and community engagement. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about things that I know about Mike outside of his role as a deputy superintendent of Evergreen. There's two books that we've studied as a division admin group. One is called Shepherd Leadership Wisdom from Psalm 23, and Lead with Humility, Leadership Lessons from Pope Francis. And the reason I highlight that is if you're going to look, and we all love our Pope, and one of the reasons we love our Pope is how he deals with people on society's periphery. And that's a hard thing for the average person to know how to make a difference for the people that are marginalized. And so certain quotes in those books kind of describe Mike better than I could. So in Shepherd Leadership, a shepherd leader is has a fully integrated way of life from head and hand and heart. It's a roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty model of leadership. It's very much with the sheep. It is not a remote form of leadership. And I bring that up because he told me a story. So Mike, as part of his church ministry, goes and reads the rosary with inmates in the Remand Center. And he does this, let's say, once a month, and I'm very interested in this. And, what's the experience like when you're in the Remand Center, and what kinds of things do you ask? And one of the things he said to me, which I found quite shocking because I hadn't thought of it that way, he said the beauty of going to the Remand Center and saying the rosary with inmates is that we're the same people. It doesn't matter who I am on the outside, doesn't matter what my role is, and it doesn't matter to me why they're in there. I don't ask those questions. It doesn't matter. We're just two people saying the rosary together. And I was stunned by this response because I don't know if I could do the same thing and not think that I was a little bit better. I'm out, you're in, I'm here to but I don't know if I would genuinely have that feeling that we're just two people in this circumstance. It doesn't matter that we're the Remand Center saying the rosary together. That's what we have in common, and that's all that's important. That speaks to the essence of the man. Another story coming from the Remand Center is a couple of Christmases ago, one of the priests he was working with to provide supports to inmates in the Remand Center said to Mike something to the effect that he wanted to collect chocolate bars because a lot of inmates don't get any letters, they don't get any form of a Christmas gift ever. So this priest had said to Mike, we want to get some chocolate bars. And in this, Mike told me that there was criticism that people would be collecting chocolate bars for inmates. They've served crimes. Are they worthy of it? And Mike was just appalled by this attitude that not everybody deserves a little recognition. Doesn't matter what they did. Doesn't matter what life circumstances. It's a little bit of hope. It's a little bit of hope for somebody who has no hope. They're institutionalized. It's a little bit of hope for that person that might help them, and they might remember that later on. And I've never really looked at a chocolate bar the same way again, because I wouldn't look at it as a gift, as a sign of hope. So Mike really made it a personal mission to get enough chocolate bars, right? You know, he was going to do this. It didn't matter if he was going to buy them himself. Every single person deserved that. And I like that he didn't buy into the naysayers that are saying, why are we doing it? There's other initiatives we could do to help other people on the outside. It was important to him that those inmates were taken care of. The same way it's important if we have an initiative in the school to feed families at different times of the year. That speaks to the essence of who he is. Another quick example is that periodically during Lent sometimes, or regularly during Lent or at other times of year, Mike just goes to a store, buys hot coffee, buys sandwiches, and he just goes to inner city. All right, and so if he sees people that aren't being fed, he pulls over, are you hungry, are you thirsty, what do you need? These are all things that I think speak to the criteria of the award beyond what he does in the school system. I'm not underestimating that. Hugely successful career. Everybody wants to be a little bit more like Mike. We would all do a little bit better if we were a little bit more like Mike. God knows Father Jan's confession of me would be a lot shorter if I was a little bit more like Mike. And I'm not joking. Another aspect of Mike is a family man, and you can see that. 3 tables, middle of the week. I've had the pleasure of meeting Mike's parents, Joe and Angela, who have had me into their house for dinner, and of course his kids, which have all become educators, and a lot of that has to do with both Rosie and Mike. So Rosie, it's Team Mike and Rosie, because you're the strength sometimes behind the man that we're honoring. But I want to read you a little bit of what his kids and his wife said. Because if we're going to look at this leadership award, we have to look at all 3 criteria: Christian witness, leadership, and community engagement. So, from one of his kids, my dad has always been a role model for us throughout our whole childhood and into adulthood. He is the epitome of leading by example. Throughout our lives, we have learned a lot of how to lead through practices and choices, and not just through words. This has been a very valuable piece of information to all 3 of Mike's children. We try and make a difference in the world like our dad. A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. This quote describes the way my dad has acted, not only within all of our schools he has worked, or all the schools he has worked throughout his career, but even as our father growing up. He is my role model and always will be. One of my favorite memories growing up was always going to schools with my dad and walking around and talking to teachers in his schools. The cool thing was that when my dad was not around, they would always tell me how great my dad is and how great of a leader he is. This only strengthened what we, his children, already knew about our father. He's just a great guy. He always tries to make a difference in our world with every action. Another one of Mike's kids. I was lucky enough to have him as a soccer coach growing up, and somehow he made it all to all 3 of his children's sporting events over the years, no matter what his schedule was. He would pile us in the minivan summer after summer and give us memories and experiences on vacation that we will cherish for the rest of our lives. My dad never went for drinks with the guys or had tons of hobbies outside of running. Every morning he got up and did what he did for us. He and my mom worked so hard to provide his family with the best opportunities possible. My father is the most selfless person I know. And from his wife, Rosie. I think Rosie feels the pain that I do too sometimes, right, Rosie? He's just too nice. Yeah. So when Rosie and I get together, we like to be like, oh, I know, wasn't Mike annoying? So Rosie, the memory that Rosie shares is this. I think one memory that has stood out for me was the work that he does at the Edmonton Remand Center, meeting with people that are in jail, listening to their stories. He is happy and almost proud that he has seen ex-inmates at our St. Charles Parish attending Mass. Mike makes them feel like that he can make a difference. He has been to the Remand Center during the washing of the feet, where he has washed the feet of inmates. The inmates were so touched that they wanted to do it and did wash the feet of others. The other story is one night Mike had gone for a walk around our neighborhood, and shortly into his walk he could hear someone yelling for help. He walked through our neighborhood streets looking for that person. He finally found an older gentleman that had fallen outside in the front of his house and couldn't get up. Mike went to the house, notified people inside, and with their help he was able to get the man safely home. And so I give you these examples because it's a good opportunity for us to say how many of us in the same circumstances would do the same thing. So that's why Mike stands out. And I'm really proud that this is an award that's going to an educator, because the work that Mike shows outside of the work is the same what he's like in the school. And some of us, we put our professional face on, and we're going to do our job, but it's exhausting, so we can't carry that always. In education, we always have to give and solve. Mike continues that. Who he is in the schools is not different from who he is outside of the schools. That's the essence of what this award is getting at. That's true Christian leadership. And so if somebody here needed Mike today before you left, Mike would be there for you before you left. So Mike, obviously this is an honor to you, your family, your work, your school division. You often say a quote that you like to use from St. John Paul: you might be the only scripture people around you might read. And in the face of those who are lost, in despair, marginalized, not connected to the church, Mike is the guy who will be the voice of Scripture and the face of Christ. So, well done. You are a good and faithful servant. We are here to honor you and all that you do that represents the three criteria of this award that I think is the reason you were selected. So, well done, Mikey Mike.
Thanks very much, Cindy. I'd now like to ask the two Kevins, Kevin Fee and Kevin Carr, to please come forward to the podium to present the award. Kevin and Kevin.
Kevin Carr and I are very, very pleased to be able to co-present this very worthwhile award to Mike Paonessa, an outstanding Christian leader. We honor his work with Evergreen Catholic, with the Excel program at Newman, at the Remand Center, in parish ministry, and in the inner city. We honor his example as a Christian witness, a leader, and a person heavily involved in community engagement. The plaque reads as follows: Kevin Carr Christian Leadership Award, presented to Mike Paonessa in recognition and honor of your outstanding Christian leadership, which reflects the values of Newman Theological College and the qualities that Kevin Carr cherished and exhibited in his work as the college's 7th president. Mike, come on up.
I would just like to add a few words with respect to the presentation on this occasion to Mike Paonessa. Newman has through the years here in this area and serving all of Western Canada been engaged in the mission of preparing people for Christian leadership. And it has worked, in preparing along with St. Joseph's Seminary, members of the clergy, and all kinds of lay people who have served in many, many capacities. And I think an occasion like this certainly pays tribute to Newman and highlights the mission that they've been engaged in. And it's a little bit awesome when I look at it and think that, wow, this is the 15th occasion that this award has been presented to a very worthy recipient. I can, in my mind, picture all of the people who through the years have received this award and the significant contributions that they've made. And now Mike Paonessa is joining that group, and this award is highlighting all the service that he has been engaged in and will continue to be engaged in. And so I want to thank you for being here on this occasion. I also would like, in a special way, to thank the members of my family. Through the years, they've always been here on this occasion, and it means a lot to me. So congratulations again, Mike, and thank you all for being here.
Start after all those words. Cindy, I think that if I ever decide to run for office anywhere, I'm going to get you as my manager, because sure make a person look good. I don't know if it's all true, but it looks good. Certainly good afternoon and welcome to everyone. It's certainly very difficult to talk after all of that, and I don't know that I'm all of that, but I'll try to say a few words today because I think I'm the one that's standing between you and the door at this point. So when the first person gets up and leaves, I think that's when I'm supposed to end my speech. I want to begin by saying firstly how deeply honored and humbled I am to be standing here today and how sincerely grateful I am for your presence. I was really worried that only my family would show up. So thank you for everybody for taking the time and for the effort to be here and help celebrate this day with us. Thank you to Tim Spelsey for doing a wonderful job of emceeing today and doing a great work. I know that Tim is a former recipient of this award, 2006, I believe. And so your work certainly is also exemplifies some of the great work you do in the community. And seeing you here today brought me back to your days of hosting Oilers hockey on TV. All right, so that's the great work you did there. And I'm just thinking, what was the difference between then and now? Gene Principe has more puns than you did, I think.
5 Stanley Cups.
Oh, and that's true. There you go. And I would take those over the puns any day, so great work. Thank you as well to Kevin Fian, to Jason, Ryan, and all the wonderful people at Newman for hosting today and for all the work that goes into this. I think Michelle's been sick of hearing from me and all the work that she's done in organizing and arranging. It's been great, and our collaboration and work with Newman College is certainly a very positive one as well that we look forward to. And of course, to Kevin Carr, thank you so much for modeling so fully a commitment to lifelong service, Catholic education, and having an award named after you is a remarkable accomplishment and one that requires continued work of witness, service, and support. Your witness and work, especially at Newman College, have certainly paved the way for others by providing them opportunities to live and grow their faith. So thank you to Kevin for all that you've done. I also want to acknowledge and thank the nominating committee, Cindy Vaselenik, Karen Custer, and Dean Sarnicki, for their work in preparing the nomination, and of course to Cindy for submitting it, as well as her wonderful words today. Again, I'm amazed. I didn't know that I could do all of that, and like I said, you sure know how to make somebody look good. I am very blessed to be part of the Evergreen Catholic family, and Cindy, you are certainly one of the main reasons for that. Thank you for your ongoing support, trust, loyalty, and the opportunities you provided me to serve. Most importantly, thank you for your friendship. Karen, thank you for listening to my many, many thoughts and ideas and opinions every day, and for providing me great advice and support. And Dean, thank you. You are a wonderful and trusted colleague and friend. Thank you for being that outside voice of guidance and counsel when I require it. I also want to thank and recognize Father Stephen and all the religious who are here today, as well as all my present and past colleagues, friends, and school board trustees for attending today. And in a special way, I want to recognize and thank my family for your attendance today. As my biggest supporters, I am delighted to be able to share this day with you. As mentioned, I am truly humbled and honored to be standing here to receive this award, but also a little uncomfortable with it. This type of recognition is not something that I am at ease with, as I prefer to stay behind the scenes and believe that we are called to serve because it is part of who we are, not for recognition or accomplishment or acknowledgement. As Pope Francis recently said, it is a matter of being more attentive to the genuineness of the good rather than the name and the provenance of those who did it. This is the way I was raised, give an example of my parents, who after immigrating here worked very hard to provide opportunities for us, which I have been so fortunate and blessed with and forever grateful. Their modeling showed me the importance of always putting your best effort forward, the meaning of making sacrifices, and most importantly, letting your actions do the talking. Of course, our greatest example of this is Jesus, who always acted with discretion and who did not do things to impress or look for popularity. When I reflect on my acts of service, I consider them to be a very small part compared to what many people do daily to make our society better. And many of my actions, in fact most of them, are achieved in a teamwork fashion. So all the participants deserve recognition today, not just me. During our lives, we come across many individuals and experiences which influence how we act and how we think. We have all heard the phrase, it takes a village to raise a child. I believe this is also true when it comes to our faith journey. Many people come and go throughout our lives who are part of our village. It begins at home with our first teachings, followed by our schools, parishes, communities, who then build on these lessons that we learn at home. We are guided and formed by many people who we come into contact with throughout our lives. As my village has grown, so has my faith, and it continues to strengthen with every personal encounter and experience I am blessed with daily. I continue to be guided and supported by many who have helped form me to become who I am today. Through words and witness, they reinforce to me the value of hard work, the importance of trust, loyalty, integrity, respect, honesty, serving others, and to do it in a very gracious, compassionate, and forgiving manner. Significant people in my village include, as I mentioned, my parents, my wife and children, my extended family, teachers, mentors, colleagues, friends, and many religious leaders who I've been blessed to collaborate with during my life and continue to do so. They have, and in many cases, as I mentioned, continue to impact my faith journey and help form me. My family has always supported and been there for me, even when they don't understand why or how I do things. For some reason, that seems to be happening more and more lately. Maybe it's something to do with age, they say with me, I don't know. I am forever grateful for their unconditional love and support, and I'm very proud of their accomplishments, as well as their commitment to give back and serve their communities. My wife and my children are role models for me. As mentioned, I am also privileged and so very fortunate to have many other wonderful mentors and many role models, many of which are here today, who are part of my community of faith and it's a blessing that with deepest gratitude I try to share with others. So I stand here today receiving this recognition in large part due to the people in my life who have been a witness for me and who support me. These examples and experiences have provided me a craving to do more. I feel truly blessed to be part of this community, and I want to share this recognition today with all the individuals who I look up to and have played a huge role in my faith formation, because it is my faith that drives who I am. Whether we are parents, teachers, managers, coaches, religious leaders, or business leaders, we're influencing people every day through our words and our actions. We don't have to be celebrities, superstars, or professional athletes to be role models. We are all called and have the ability to bring Christ to one another. Pope Francis has had a huge influence on my faith journey and expresses it best with the following words. Let us ask our Lord to help us understand that love is service. Love means taking care of others. Every minute of every day, there is someone in our families, places of work, communities, or across the world who need our love and support. It is essential that we reach for and utilize every opportunity available to us to reinforce the values and beliefs that we hold dear, because if we truly embrace these values, they will influence and impact our day-to-day actions. It is my hope that those I serve find Christ in what I say, do, or in what my presence means to them. Gary Gagnon, who works with Indigenous learning at Edmonton Catholic Schools, recently said that during our lives we are on an earth walk that leads to God. Our faith is strengthened during our earth walk through observing, listening to the wisdom of others, and most importantly, our actions. Our earth walk takes us along many paths, and every personal encounter and occasion to make a difference to those we meet along the way leads us closer to God. Pope Francis adds that a vocation to holiness is not something reserved for a privileged few. All of us can make a difference in the world by supporting and helping the vulnerable, those at the peripheries, and those in need. At times we are blind to the need in our world or local community and even deny it exists. However, God needs us to be his hands and feet on this earth. He needs our eyes to see, our hands to help our brothers and sisters. Pope Francis emphasizes this point beautifully with the following quote as well. Above all, the Lord needs our heart to manifest God's merciful love for the least, the rejected, the abandoned, and the marginalized. I also feel very privileged to be receiving this recognition today on behalf of so many excellent Catholic educators and leaders who work tirelessly every day bringing the Gospels to life in our schools. Catholic schools are communities of faith and learning where we are blessed and fortunate with the opportunity to help change the course of someone's life through words and actions, and belief in their God-given talents that are waiting to be exercised when given the chance. My journey and experiences through the Catholic education system have confirmed to me that we all make a difference. We have a huge influence on people's lives. I am so fortunate and grateful to be part of a faith community every day in all that I do. And I am truly blessed and privileged to witness the value of lifelong learning along with faith formation. I am also very thankful to be a member of a community of faith which promotes the home, school, and parish, working collaboratively to foster the growth and formation of all students. Catholic school communities are very special places. They have a core curriculum of religious faith instruction which permeates all subjects to help form students to be ambassadors of truth and of the truth and love of Christ. This is the gift of a Catholic school, a place where we discover Christ in everything we do, so even when the world seems torn apart and confused, our faith will support us to map a future of joy and hope. A Catholic education promotes a holistic learning experience that forms every person, preparing them for life and to appreciate the value of their life and that of others by offering back to society values and goods for the benefit of all. Catholic schools, therefore, do not only prepare students to be contributing members of society, but they also, and more importantly, help students become better people. In the context of a Catholic school, teaching is often referred to as a vocation or a calling to share in the Church's mission. The gift of Catholic education is something that we are very privileged to have in Alberta. Publicly funded Catholic schools have a very long and successful history. We cannot lose sight of this rich tradition, and we should never take it for granted. As members in this very important calling, we must continue communicating and collaborating with all our stakeholders to share the good news about our schools and engage their continued support. A great example of this is the wonderful work which Newman College does in supporting the formation of teachers and future leaders. We are very grateful to have Newman College right here in our backyard, and I want to acknowledge and thank them for their ongoing leadership and support. The partnerships which many Catholic school divisions have with Newman College are a testament to the commitment Newman places on collaborating with Catholic school division to support faith formation and Catholic education. In particular, as Cindy mentioned, we at Evergreen are very thankful for Newman's continued support of our Catholic Excellence in Catholic Education Leadership Program, our Excel program, which supports faith-based leadership development. We certainly look forward to continuing to grow this collaborative endeavor. Through these experiences at Newman, teachers and future leaders are better prepared to teach the hearts and minds of those entrusted in their care and support their journey of formation through religious education, catechesis, and evangelization. Those who know me know that I am a big believer in building, nurturing, and maintaining positive and strong relationships. It is a part of who I am. I believe it is vitally important to build relationships not just with those whom we interact with on a daily basis, but also with the marginalized and those at risk in our world. One way to foster and build these relationships is through service. Serving and supporting others does not require extreme, difficult, or strenuous work. It more frequently takes the quiet but more powerful form of listening, demonstrating empathy, understanding, and awareness, guiding, and building community. Father Richard Rohr states that if we are not deliberate about our relationships with those who are at risk in the world, the result is a divide that convinces the comfortable and secure that all is well and persuades the poor that there is no hope. And regardless of what else we do, we must stay connected in some kind of face-to-face way with the persons and places at risk. The assistance I have chosen to offer to the vulnerable, marginalized, and less fortunate and at risk have reinforced this for me and made it for very many positive experiences. By supporting and meeting with them in their environments, I hope they begin to see me as a face of hope. Pope Francis says, in a very real way, the poor are our teachers. They show us that people's value is not measured by their possessions or how much money they have in the bank. A poor person lacking material possessions always maintains his or her dignity. The poor can teach us much about humility and trust in God. And two very special stories that came out of this when I read this quote was that when I meet with the homeless and when I provide for them and when I give back to them, sometimes I don't have as much as the need that's there. And so they find a way to solve that problem, and they find a way to share and make sure that everybody has something to eat when I'm with them, even if in the case that I don't have enough because there's more than what I expected to be there. So they do teach me that there is sharing and dignity in how they provide for each other when they don't have as much. And as well, when I'm praying in the remand center, a lot of times we have people there who are not Catholic and don't know how to pray the rosary. Well, the ones that do always sit beside them and lead them along the way and show them the different prayers and where they are in the pamphlet that we give them. So they make everybody feel inclusive in that particular community that we're in that evening. So certainly the poor do teach me about humility and trust in God. The opportunities I have to support others have also taught me some very valuable lessons. A first lesson from my visit with inmates and the homeless is that liking, disliking, or appreciating my support has nothing to do with my past experiences or achievements. They do not know anything about me, and I don't know their story either. We face each other as equals, and they see me as someone who desires to spend time with them without judgment. To them, I bring nothing more than my gift of time, along with compassion, empathy, and words of hope. Henry Nouwen says that compassion cannot exist with judgment, because judgment creates distance, which prevents us from really being with the other. The individuals I visit have been a living example to me of the value of approaching others with compassion, mercy, and, as I mentioned, without judgment. A second lesson for me has been that God invites me in these calls to ministry for very specific reasons. And oftentimes, after dialogue, debrief, prayer, or reflection, I come to realize that God placed me in a particular situation because He needed me there at that very specific moment. A third lesson I have come to realize that even though there are many needs and people in our world who require support, and in our communities, I cannot be overwhelmed by the enormity of the task, but just stay focused on the need, person, or people I am serving. And in the words of St. Mother Teresa, if you can't feed 100 people, then just feed one. What matters most is my willingness to help or support, not the final total. And there are so many, many wonderful people across the world doing these acts of kindness that we're all doing it one at a time if we have to, but it certainly makes a difference. And so many people do it without looking for recognition, so behind the scenes. A fourth lesson for me has been that even on the most difficult of days, at the end of a long day when I really don't feel like adding another task to my plate, every opportunity to be kind, compassionate, or caring has provided me strength and nourishment, and feeling more energized and refreshed than I was before participating in that particular event or activity. That's the payback for me. A final lesson for me has been that just as I have been blessed with many opportunities provided to me by my parents, family, friends, and colleagues, I now have the opportunity as a parent, community member, and leader to give back and serve, and I try to take advantage of these opportunities when I can. Through my experiences, I have also come to realize that whatever our roles are, we are constantly presented with opportunities to shepherd our legacies. How are we leveraging these opportunities to generously coach, mentor, and serve those around us? St. John Paul II said that the ultimate test of your greatness is the way you treat every human being. At the end of the day, our legacy will not be remembered by the things we have acquired or personal successes, but rather by the human interactions and relationships that we have fostered, nurtured, and cultivated, and by our love shown to whomever God places in front of us. Jean Vanier says that love is not doing things for someone, but revealing their worth, their value, and their goodness. If my legacy is represented by my collections and material possessions, then I have failed in the mission God has entrusted all of us with, because it is not what we are or possess that counts the most, but rather who we are. And the true measure of a person is determined by what you can't measure. Saint Therese of Lisieux says, you know well enough that our Lord does not look so much at the greatness of our actions, nor even at the difficulty, but at the love with which we do them. Our gospel readings this past Sunday spoke of our mission as disciples of Jesus, that we are called to serve and bring God's presence to all those we come into contact with daily. It is my hope that we grow in this call to holiness through wonderful acts of love and hope which we bring to others, because through example we can change the world. And to quote Dr. Seuss, to the world we may be one person, but to one person we may be the world. As stewards of our legacies, we must embrace this by teaching it, living it, and owning it. And as Father Richard Leonard said, gratitude, forgiveness, and love, measured in deeds, will help us in all that we do. We have to talk to a suffering world through the gospel of hope. My experience has confirmed to me that we provide a little hope with every gesture of love we offer, and in the words of Anne Frank, a single thread of hope is still a very powerful thing. I want to once again reiterate how unexpected an honor this has been, and thank Newman College for the privilege of representing so many that do so much day in and day out, and through their example continue to inspire and support my faith journey. And I hope that in a small way my actions can do the same for others. I am so deeply grateful and humbled to be standing here today, and I want to once again express my deepest gratitude to all of you for your presence today and your ongoing support. In conclusion, I pray that the Lord continue to give us all grace and strength to serve with humility and gracious hearts. Thank you again, and God bless.
Well, thanks very much, Mike. That was a tremendous address. Personal note, I want to thank you for the kind words you mentioned about my work here today. Let me assure you it's a real pleasure and a privilege to be here. And I want you to remember, too, Gene Principe, 0, Tim Spalsey, 5 Stanley Cups. I keep telling that to Bob Nicholson and Tom McClellan. They're just going, yeah, take it. Let me be the first to welcome you as well to the Kevin Carr Club. There's some other members here today, past Kevin Carr Award recipients, and I'm going to mention their names, and I hope I don't miss anyone, but if I do, I'll apologize in advance. I did see Doug Roach and Glenn Argan here, the Western Catholic Reporter Connection. Joyce Tutt, I know Joyce is here, I saw her somewhere. Where are you, Joyce? Give a wave. There you are, Joyce. I think Mary is here, Mary Malloy. There's Mary. Hi, Mary, how are you? And the forever young Ben Hockhausen. And as Mike mentioned, the 2006 winner, Tim Spalsey. Yeah. So let me assure you, Mike, it's a great club, even if someone like me gets to become a member. And I think I can speak for all those other recipients that this award has more value over time. It's kind of like a fine red Italian wine. It's exciting today, and as you mentioned, I'm sure you feel this way, it's a bit overwhelming, fun to share with your family, but I assure you that in 5 or 10 or 15 years from now, you're going to look back at this event today and you're going to smile, and it's going to be a big, wide smile. So congratulations again, Mike. I want to thank everyone for being here today. We don't want you to rush away. Stick around, say congratulations to Mike and his family, socialize for a while. Have a great afternoon. Those who have to leave right away, God bless, and we'll see you next year. Thank you.